the Champ Contender Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Champ and Contender Podcast. My name is Joseph J. Jones.
My name is Fabian Collymore.
We interview the champs and the contenders of all realms from all different walks of life. And we have a very interesting, versatile guest with us today. He's a high jumper, silver medalist in the African Championships. He's also a runner-up in BB Niger, which is Big Brother Nigeria, for those of you who didn't know. Entrepreneur in just about everything, just reading up about you. And now a Misfits boxer. So without further ado, everybody, this is Mike Edwards. How you doing, Mike?
Hello. Thank you for the introduction. Sometimes I forget my past, but yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming to the pub. For those who don't know you, Mike, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, good question. My background is obviously sports. I've always been an athlete since as long as I can remember. I was born in the UK, Manchester, United Kingdom, and I was raised in Florida, United States of America. So I've always felt like I've been a rolling stone for most of my life, been traveling, moving with my family. And then it's not so much in recent years. After I finished university, I moved back to the UK, and I took on the journey of becoming a professional high jumper. And that is in itself has just been a probably one of the most exciting journeys and ventures that I've ever embarked on, and it's taken me to so many different walks of places in the world. So here I am now as a professional boxer, but the rest is still unwritten.
Amazing. Yeah. So talk to us about the high jumping. What made you fall in love with high jumping?
Well, it was never my actual goal to become a track and field athlete. I was a basketball player for the majority of my childhood. I've been 6'6" since the age of 15.
Oh,
so as you can imagine, I was
going to say, when you walked in, I was like, I'm tall. I'm like 6'3". I was like, wow, we both went, he's tall.
Yeah, so I've always been, like pretty much this stature. Not always had this muscle, but been this height. And for the most part, when you're the tall kid in the class, everyone assumes you're going to play basketball. And I actually fell in love with the sport. Michael Jordan in the 90s is just the easy option. And then in high school, long story short, one of my best friends, my mentor, my coach, he challenged me to come out for track and field in America. This is like, a spring sport. And I gave it a try. And then 3 months later, I became the state champion. So wow. The state champion in the US is like, it's like the holy grail for a high school student. So when I was, privileged to win, it kind of sent me more in like a spiral of like wanting to get better, wanting to see how far I can go with it, and then the rest is history. I got a scholarship to go to university there in America, and then from there on, I got the GB call up for the European Juniors at the age of 19, and then the rest is the rest is history. I continued on. I stayed the course. And then it wasn't until the age of 28 I chose to switch nationalities from Great Britain to Nigeria.
So why was that?
To me, to be fair, I was always kind of seeking for my identity in sport, in life in general, and I felt like I've always been quite misunderstood. Mm-hmm. Being born in the UK but raised in America, I never really was accepted as like quote unquote the British athlete that most others would have never like bat an eyelid. But when I came around, it was like, the American guy. Okay. So I never really felt the home support. And it wasn't until I went to Nigeria and was like, oh yeah, this is they they embraced me for who I am, and it's almost like they was like longing for me to come. And at the time, I was the first. Well, I still am. I was the first ever Nigerian high jumper to represent Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games in over 50 years. So I probably should have said I'm Jamaican as well. Jamaican and Nigerian. So my father's Jamaican, my mother's Nigerian. So I had the option.
Yeah.
At the time, Jamaica has had loads of other, remarkable athletes, but Nigeria didn't have any high jumpers.
Okay.
In the history of the sport and, the rich history of the athletes there, no one decided to partake in the high jump event. So it was a lot more enticing for me to, be that one, the chosen guy, to come and do something special and like make my mark. And that's kind of like what any athlete wants to do. They say, oh, legacy or what, but for me is I just wanted to leave a mark and be remembered for something. And I think that's kind of like put me on that kind of like that journey to represent Nigeria. And then who would have thought the big brother was going to come next? Yeah. So again, life has just been a twist and turns.
Well, we'll go on to Big Brother in due course, because that's just fascinating anyway. Like Big Brother in general. But talk to us a little bit more about your greatest moments within high jumping.
Oh wow, I've said this recently. I didn't realize until because I haven't high jumped since the Commonwealth Games in 2022 in Birmingham. That was a big moment for me, but I wouldn't be doing myself a service if I said that was my biggest moment, or winning the silver, my first international medal at the African Championships. Although I fell short of winning gold, it was still an achievement. But I have to go all the way back to grassroots, and it would be the state title. It doesn't matter how many international meets or how many places in the world I've traveled to. That competition changed my life.
Yeah.
If I would have won, and there was so much leading up to me even getting to that day or to that moment. They say that there's key moments in every man's life. That was a special one, winning the state title, but then also winning the GB, my first British title, because I went from finishing last when I first moved over in 2014 at that same championship to winning the entire thing. So it just showed, my fortitude, the dedication, and the discipline, and like you could even say, delusion that played a part in it all. Because for one, I almost felt like I wasn't good enough at one point, and then to become to just realize that moment. It was quite special, because that was my last time representing Great Britain. It was my last competition at the British Championships, and then it was my first British title. So there was a lot of bittersweet moments in athletics, because it's not the most luxurious sport. Yeah. It's a grind, and it's very, very much a fickle sport too. It's what you've done for me lately. That's all they care about.
Really?
You could have titles, but when you step on that line or when you line up, it's like, are you in shape or not? Because the next guy wants to, take your spot and take your place. So all these things, I always feel like is diverted me into where I am now. It's like transferable skills, so to say. So.
Yeah, it fits in well, I think, with everything. Like, as I said to you before off camera, like the idea of the Champ Contender is that you talk to people from all realms, whether you be a musician, whether you be an actor, whether you be an athlete, whether you be a cook, whatever you do, you train hard to become the best that you do. And it's funny, like you touched on, maybe delusional. Yeah. Like, you have to be a bit nuts, right?
Oh, yeah.
To go from, like you say, last to go, nah, do you know what? I am not going to lose. And then you win, you know. And like, tell us about the mental state, your mental state as an athlete. Like, what were the hardest times and what were the best of times going through your mental struggles?
You see, for me, mental struggles is an interesting one, because when you're in the thick of it, like without the pun of like KSI's news track, when you're in the thick of it, it's more a case where I know what I apply. I like to apply this approach where you almost have to have, what's the saying? You have to meet everything with enthusiasm, you know? So for me, I could be in the thick of it and like, this not looking good. There's like no way I'm going to be able to climb out of the situation I'm in, or like, you know, I've got a long way to go. But the enthusiasm and the attitude that you apply or you bring on each day, you know, that's where, the enjoying the journey, you know, it comes in. Like I said, I was training in the dark, preparing for my debut. I had a date, it got pushed. I got another date, that got changed. It got cut. So I put something out the other day. It's like, you know, the win is coming. You know, don't worry about the when. And the when is, again, in that time when you don't know the anticipation, all that stuff is part of the package. Yeah. And a lot of times, you know, especially in team sports, it's very much regimen, and it's like you have a date, you have a schedule because they've already budgeted for your schedule. It's already aligned. Like, it's no deviating from there. You might have a few like changes to the schedule hourly wise, but it's not going to be like that much drastic. But when you deal in individual sports, there's always that gray area. There's always that we'll line something up, you know. And I think that's kind of where I've had so many years of experience in there. I just end up like loving the process more, because it's like I know it makes a lot more other people feel uncomfortable within it. You know, being in that gray zone is you know, it's not for the faint.
No,
you know, it's not for the faint.
Was there like ever a moment where you felt, this is too much for me, I'm quitting, I'm done with this?
With that,
with track and field,
I didn't really have any other option at the time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really, there was no giving up, so to speak. You know what I mean? I kind of, to be fair, I had already won the race of sport, of track and field, not sport. In track and field, like I was fortunate enough to earn a degree in from a great university, was able to tour, come back to the UK, represent the nation, meet some great friends, some lifelong friends, and then even my wife in the process. So to me, I was already in the green.
Yeah,
I could have left any time. You know what I mean? It was nothing. It was more for me like I wanted to see what more I could get out of it. You know what I mean? It was almost like, you know what I mean, just roll the dice again. You know what I mean? That was kind of where I was with the sport, but I was always doing other things on the back end, because I was always trained to be more than an athlete. Student athlete is the mantra in the US. Yeah. You know what I mean? And same way when I moved back to the UK, it was like, all right, like, apply that, you know, business athlete. So when I moved here, I needed something else to do to keep my engine going, because it was like, it was just like very much bleak, train, come back, repetitive. And it was like, whoa, this is my, and it was like lonely as well, because it's like, you're all there for the same goal, and there's only three spots. So it's like I was training with like Robbie Grabars, you know, Olympic silver medalist, you know, some of the best jumpers in the nation, you know, and we was all biting at each other's ankles for that like two more places, because Robbie was going. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was kind of like, you know what I mean, like how I kind of grew through it. I never really felt like quitting. Okay. Even now, I haven't even retired officially, but you know what I mean, who knows? You know, I just look at it as like, you know, like I've been fortunate to have a stellar career, no injuries. I've been happy. The dangerous athlete is a happy athlete as well. That's another thing. So I'm just like, I'm enjoying it, man. You know, some people don't get the opportunity to leave on their own terms, and I've been able to do it, pivot, do it again, pivot, do it again. You know, so you know, I'm happy.
Okay, so what's the training like? Because I'm a sprinter.
Yeah,
I wanted to know what the training is like for high jumpers, because for me, looking at it, it just looks like it's all single leg.
Yeah.
You must balance it out by doing plyometrics on both legs and not just one leg.
Yeah, the training could be very robust. I've been fortunate to train in 2 different camps.
Okay.
In America and in the UK. And what I noticed in the group that I was in when I was in the UK, it was very rhythmical. A lot of base training, a lot of again, like lower legs, but then a lot of core, abdomen strength. Yeah. Like we train like some of the Russians. Very much. Like almost calisthenics. You know what I mean? It was intense. It was intense. But then when I got to America, they train more on like your engine. You know what I mean? Bigger, faster, stronger, better athlete. Okay. So it was like, whoa, no more rhythmical. This is like, you get your machine. That's kind of like where the name started, emerging. Like the machine. I kept going. I knew how to fine tune my engine. Okay. You may start with like a regular V6 engine. And start of the season. By the end, you're on V12. You're torque, ready to go. You know what I mean? So all that torque, all that engine, all that power. You need to really like align that at the right time as well, because it's all great to be in shape, but in track and field it's all about peaking at the right moment, the right time. Or all that other stuff is kind of like you could be in best shape of your life, but in off season, you know what I mean, that won't be fun. So yeah.
Do you, this is going to sound like a bit of a joke question, but do you get one leg bigger than the other being a high jumper because of that bounce off of that leg, a Hulk leg?
I never really like sat and pondered on that, because I felt we did a lot to balance.
Right.
Our coach was very good at making sure we had certain amount of reps. Now, if anything, like we would probably have wear and tear around the hip, right. On one side. But I don't think we did whatever we did on one leg, we did another in the gym. I remember that. We didn't just like go. That would be a quick session. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we did everything on because the high jump was 90% the runway. Mm-hmm. The jump was the last 10%. So those legs, you know what I mean?
So you could give Fabian a run for his money, then sprint.
Yeah, no, I don't know about that. We're not sprinters. I know I wasn't. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so you touched on, you're still fit. You're still fighting, still got the machine mentality.
That's it.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
34. I'm 33, and there is a clear difference in body. Just I'm a musician, so you can imagine it's drink and rock and roll and all that. Nice. But could you still jump into going into high jump now at 34? Like, is there like? I guess like what I'm trying to say is when you look at footballers and when people question footballers, look at Ronaldo. I mean, look at the peak of that guy. I mean, he just seems like he can keep going, and he's 40. And it seems like now age isn't so much a question whether you can. It's more your mental state and what you put in your body and stuff like that. But what do you say to that?
That's a good point. It's a good valid question, because only recently that's why I never close the door on anything.
Yeah.
It's because you can feel, and I know it sounds taboo, you can feel like $1 million, but your age might tell you, it's we've had our fun, we've had our run. And I feel like it's you, then, because I look at like this generation of athletes, particularly in the professional sports. You got Ronaldo, you got LeBron James, you have Serena Williams, you have Floyd Mayweather. We have these greats that are still able to move, because it's how they approach their craft. They're professionals. Not just in the ring or in the gym, like in life. They take care of their body, they take care of their nutrition, they take care of their health. And I've been fortunate that I've had great coaches in my life that stress the importance of mobility, stretching, eating, sleeping well. Like moving around, getting the treatment. And I feel like that also has a toll. So I might be 34, but I might not have as many mileage as somebody else. So, it's like, it's however you look at it. Now, I've never had an injury. I've never been under the needle or knife or anything like that. So I'm very much like, feel like, and that's that could be just 3-4 years to some other people because, you know, they might have had an injury and now they've got a little bit more tender in certain regions. Where for me, like, you know, long as, like, you know, I know my limitations, and I take care of, you know, my strengths, I feel like I can balance out and have more longevity. And I think that's the aim goal, is longevity in sport, and to leave on your own terms, as opposed to some athletes would have loved to continue on, but their body is just not able to live up to it. And I feel like that's when you're that 1% in the world, it's bound to happen. You know what I mean? Like I was never a world champion in track and field, so I never, you know what I mean, I feel like I never tapped into that engine where it's probably like full throttle and then something breaks. You know what I mean? I feel like I've always quite been steady in my development. I was like, oh, okay, like I ain't gonna do that. You know, I'm not gonna lift that much. I'm not gonna sprint that much. I've always kind of been very much in the sweet spot, and I would say, and I feel like, you know, some could say I didn't risk enough, but some could say I risked just enough. I don't know.
Well, in a mental state, then I guess it's slow and steady wins the race.
There you go. Consistency, the small chops, the nut down the tree. You know what I mean? Over time. You know, so I get you. It's the same philosophy that I believe in as well. You know, I mean, it's the Zen approach. It's like not trying to do everything right then and there, but it's those small increment details. And I feel like that's been me. You know what I mean? Like when I was an athlete, when I did track and field, I saw myself as a dark horse. Yeah. Someone that was there, but wasn't the first contender that you would expect, but I would emerge as a victory in the long run. You know what I mean? As opposed to, like, sometimes you don't necessarily have to be the fastest, the strongest, but if you just don't quit and you go the distance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you feel like the top tier athletes, that 1% that you talk about, push their body too far or to the limit of their body, and it couldn't work on someone else's body?
I can only speak on what I've seen.
Yeah.
My wife was a world champion.
Yeah.
She represented Great Britain. She was one of the best 400-meter hurdlers in the world.
Yeah.
And then at the World Championships, at the peak of her career, she had one of the most devastating injuries, and it took her like 4 or 5 years to recover from. And
was that physically or mentally? It took
no,
her
physically.
Physically,
you know what I mean?
Okay.
Mentally, she was always going to be, you know, a star. But I feel like that, you know, seeing, you know, how she was prime in her best shape, but again, that she was pushing herself because, you know, there was other women that wanted her spot and she wanted to, you know, prove herself. I felt like it was inevitable, like, you know, when there was going to be a break. And then Robbie Grabar, as my training partner, he had another severe injury that took him out for a few seasons as well. And most of the world best all had injuries. And, you know, you start to think how much pressure are they putting on their body? How much are they doing, you know what I mean, beyond their limitations? These are the questions that, you know what I mean, for me as an unsponsored athlete coming up, where I needed to be present every week, you know what I mean, to be able to just break even. I wasn't going to be doing no 1,000 extra reps, you know what I mean, in the dark, you know what I mean, with no guidance and supervision. It just wasn't happening. It's like, you got to know which battles you want to fight. So for me, like I said, I played a smart game. Like I said, I train smart, not hard.
Okay.
Train smart, not hard, you know, and I think that's, you know, why I'm still here.
So do you feel that because they've got that sponsorship and that funding and stuff like that makes them push?
I can't. All I'm saying is I know from witnessing. Sometimes when I was training alongside, I was like, "You're doing the same thing as I'm doing, but why is you jumping at a different rate? Why are these guys running at a different?" Like, don't get me wrong. There's talent, and then there's those that work on their talent as well. And that's you know, I mean, some people are born for it to be great and to be the, you know, the 1%. That's their destiny, you know. But for others, like I feel like I found the love. I developed the love and the passion for it, and then I became one of the best, you know, within my region or area or whatnot. And then I became a contender, you know what I mean? And it's just more or less from there, you know what I mean? Like none of my past relatives or immediate family members would have done anything like in sports where I was doing, but I was just, you know, gifted and fortunate in that time spent to make the most of it. But I started at 15 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I was playing basketball. I had no business doing track and field. So I started at 15. Within 3 months, I became the state champion. Within 2 more years, I was representing the national team. And then 10, 15 years later, I'm doing a podcast talking about it. So it's wild. You know what I mean? When you think about it, it's like, come on, like you already won. Yeah. And I look at it that way.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you and your wife have any plans of having children, or have you got children?
Yeah. So I have a son at the moment. He's 4.
Well, they're going to be wanting to test them in the lab, right? Like with both of your genes.
He's funny, man. This guy's funny. Like I said, like, I would just wish that he is able to find his path, and whatever way we can mold it and support it. That's all I really care for. Because, like I said, I know it's not easy, and you know it does take a lot out of you. You know what I mean? In terms of like the sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like, I'm probably not the person I would have been if I didn't go this route. You know what I mean? In terms of like the people I hang out with, the people I associate with, the career I have, the job I would have had if I didn't do so many different things. Because you know, mentally I've always I would say like been like the guys. You know what I mean? I did everything like, you know, I like the college life. I enjoyed. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you enjoy, but like I had to narrow down and focus in and spend more attention to other things where my colleagues were probably doing other stuff. So it's just about, you know what I mean, decisions and making those. And I feel like one thing I'm proud of to see in my son is that, you know, he's got his own mind at an early age. And I think that's one thing that I'm super proud of. Yeah. You know what I mean? He can, you know, kind of navigate already at an early age, like what he wants. And I feel like it's good as parents to allow your kids to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to have a little girl soon, so
congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. Man. I'm a bit like, I'm sort of one of them minds. Is like you sort of touched on it there a little bit. Like, you know, I think again, whatever field you're in, whether it be, you know, athletics or music, whatever it may be, like, you know, to keep that and to sort of earn money through that as well, or like to constantly be what you were born to be is tough in this world, right? Yeah. And I'm of a mind sometimes, like if my little girl turns around and says I want to be a singer, I'm almost like, no, you don't, because but you know, you do what you want to do, sweetheart. You know, you
got to.
Yeah, exactly, and support them in every way they go. Look, let's completely spin this a minute. From going, you know, athletics and high jumping. When did you get a call for Big Brother in Nigeria?
Wow, that was something I pursued. To be fair,
wow,
I pursued Big Brother because. I didn't tell you the full story, but I didn't get to represent Nigeria initially at the Commonwealth Games in 2018. I was banned from switching my allegiance. They was going through a change in the rules of the switching allegiance at the time, and I was just in that window. And you know, I made a fight for it. I put out you know, as much like pushback as I could to just like, you know, like I want to compete, like call me, let's get this thing done. You know, I was furious because, you know, I'd flown all the way to Australia, mate. Yeah. Getting ready to debut in the Commonwealth Games. You know, I was proud. It was like, this is going to be my moment. And then as I got into the village, they flagged my my profile and like basically like rejected my participation. So it was probably like there was like a 2-month window from me becoming British champion, or 1 month to going to the Commonwealth Games. And then I was on a high, and then immediately I was just on the low, probably one of the lowest points in my life. I was like, because I felt so vulnerable, something taken away due to paperwork and due diligence. So I was like, oh, you kidding me? Wow. And I was just felt like, you know, just like so like, you know what I mean? So like, I can't really describe it, but just so like invaluable to like the
Did you feel like someone turned your back on you a little bit?
It just felt very like outcast, or do you know what I mean? Like come on, like I'm not a drug cheat. I've never done anything of that nature to, you know what I mean, disrespect the sport. And here I am, did all what I could do to get in this moment, and then it was like stolen, taken away from me. But again, I fought back 4 years later on, and I was able to represent Nigeria at the Commonwealth in Birmingham. But yeah, that in itself, again, also left some bitter notes in my mouth for being in that track and field world. So when I didn't get the opportunity to represent Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games, I switched my interest to the opportunity of going on a reality TV show, right, which was Big Brother. You know, it originated in the UK, but now it's in Nigeria. I was like, well, this would be a cool way to, you know, kind of like redeem that moment of like donning the colors of Nigeria on a big stage. And I didn't anticipate it being as big as it was, but it was one of the biggest shows, if not the biggest show in Africa. So wow. I ended up going on there, no very much like, you know, plan. I just wanted to promote my business, have a laugh, go there and say I'd done it, gain a few followers, come out, and then like, look.
Well, you got the followers.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, it was, again, life is they said when we plan, God laughs, and I never would have anticipated that my life, where I didn't see myself as a reality guy. You know what I mean? I felt like I don't have, you know, the outlasting like personality. I didn't see myself like that. I just felt like sometimes I was a bit too dull. But what I realized is, you know what I mean, who I was enough. And again, like I said earlier in the podcast, I was just trying to find myself, you know what I mean, from the Mancunian kid that grew up in the streets of my side, and now I'm in like international global stage. Is just like, I've already won. I keep saying it. My whole life I'm just like grinning, cheese, like you know what I mean, chin ear to ear, because I know, like, you know what I mean, it could have been a lot different, you know.
So how did it change your life, the whole Big Brother experience?
It taught me a lot. It gave me a lot more confidence. In there, I was able to come out of my shell a bit more. I felt like I was able to live up to my name, find my identity, you know, kind of realize, you know, in the spotlight, it was kind of made for me. And then also, you know, knowing again that I'm a lot bigger outside of, you know, this space, you know what I mean? And I feel like, I feel like it's a responsibility, you know what I mean? Like seeing, you know what I mean, people that have big platforms, big profiles, you know what I mean? I didn't realize there's the responsibility that comes along with it, but I felt like it was like destined. Like I was meant to have this platform. I was meant to like be in this position. So what I would say it changed is it just gave me a new like love and respect for my motherland. And then, you know, from there now it's like, if it wasn't for me, I don't know if my son would have had that connection. So everything I do now is like, you know what I mean, it's like now my son's legacy, you know what I mean? Like, you know, my son is my legacy, and then he knows who he is, you know what I mean? I just recently watched, like, without plugging, the movie On Those Lines. Okay. And I watched it and I was just like, wow, this is so awesome, you know, because it's like what they're saying, like, know who you are, and like, you know, like your name is the meaning, and all these things. It's like, you know, like it was just empowering, you know. So yeah, I feel like that in itself was enough, and discovering and reconnecting and just like finding that inner strength. That's why I like being able to fight now is like, I pull from all those inspirations. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? When I watch these guys in the UFC, you know, when I used to watch Stylebender and, you know, the Usman, and it's like and even Francis Ngannou, they just pull from a different source of inspiration. I'm like, that's what I have.
Okay.
And I never really tapped into that in athletics, high jump, because it wasn't a blood sport. You know what I mean? But now I'm in a blood sport, and it's
funny you saying Ngannou, because I recognise that in a way. It's like almost a spirit with him.
Yes.
And I mean, the guy, let's face it, he should have maybe beat Tyson Fury in what he did and knocked him down.
He did.
Yeah, it's funny. I've lost many. Well, I'm from a boxing background. My dad was a ABA boxer, and he trained us up as boxers when we were younger.
Oh wow!
And I'm very much boxing over UFC.
Yeah.
And I argue the point of you can tap someone's nose and earn a point in boxing.
Yeah.
This is not what you're seeing in this fight. Yes, you see the big knockout, the knockdown by Ngannou, and yes, he did smother him, but you're missing the tactical point of what boxing is. But then you go back and you think, he did look pretty good. But you see from that source, don't you? There's almost like this, I don't know, warrior spirit with Ngannou. And I think I watched Joe Rogan talking about him the other day, and I was like, you know what, you're right. He's just got this energy, and you've just hit the nail on the head there. So it's like, you feed from the spirits of ancestry, almost.
Man, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like, for those that don't have the experience to walk that life or walk that walk, it's only a feeling that you can only imagine. Because like. It's like, it's lonely in that ring. It's lonely in the training camp. It's like I didn't realize, like how intense training really was. Like I told you before, I didn't really feel like I tapped into that in high jump. I just felt like I was always being like, just a bit. But in the boxing, it was like, no, like, it's deep waters. You know what I mean? Like my coach would tell me, he's like, I'm not pulling you out. I was gassing out in the beginning. I was gassing out every session. He's like, I ain't pulling you out. I ain't pulling you out. And I was like, I just kept kicking it down. And then eventually it was like, now when you watch me fight, it's just like aggressive. Like one of my trainers like, he's getting, I remember hearing when I was sparring, he's like, he's getting aggressive, isn't he? Because when I first started, I would like, if I hit like more like I jabbed my opponent or caught him with a cross, I would apologize. I was like, oh, sorry. Like I'll sometimes surprise myself.
Yeah.
And that, again, that's the whole discovery. It was like, like I had to find, I hate saying it. Some people don't like me like saying what I say, but it's like, it's like you tap into your dark side. Everyone has a dark side, man. And I feel like, when I'm fighting, like I don't really like watching back my fights, because I see like, when I first came back from my debut, my son was like, I had it on, he was playing, and then my son came and I didn't want him to see, because I know I'm not thinking happy thoughts when I'm in there. So I feel like it will show in your expressions and everything. So I don't want him to see me as that person, because, I feel like, I want to train him up to be a gentleman.
Yeah.
So, he's going to have these attributes already within him. So he doesn't
I guess it's like musicians, they have their alter ego names and stuff like that. So I guess you're just stepping in the ring as the machine not Mike.
That's it.
You're not Daddy anymore.
That's it.
You're Machine Mike.
That's it.
But you touched on something earlier where you were saying about the name.
Yeah.
What is your original Nigerian name?
Olayomi.
Olayomi. Yeah. And the meaning behind that is?
Wealth of God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what part of Africa, what part of Nigeria are you from, family?
So Lagos, I'm from the Yoruba tribe.
Okay.
And my mother's first generation, actually.
Okay.
So fortunately, I wasn't able to meet my grandmother. She passed before I was born, and my mom was very young when she passed. But I have a huge family in Nigeria, and some of them actually have moved over here to the UK. So, but yeah, it's again, just from your tribe, you're a family. But like this one Nigeria, regardless of what tribe you're from, so every year my son, whenever he celebrates his birthday, allow him to dress up in every tribe, any because I feel like the culture is so rich and so vast and of like culture, and I don't want it to miss out because he's only celebrating his own tribe. And I feel like the more diverse we are, and the more we come together, the stronger we are. So. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And Jamaica too. He just came back from Jamaica and for Christmas. Because my missus, I was Jamaican and Grenadian, so he's getting a dose of everything. Okay. And I think that's something that I didn't really have growing up. I always knew I was Jamaican, but I didn't know too much of my Nigerian heritage because my mom didn't grow up with a mom and a father. Okay. But my father, was in the pit. So there was always a big Jamaican culture and tradition, especially early in the 90s. But the Africans weren't up then. You know what I mean? So it was now it's different. You know what I mean? We're everywhere now. So
I'm sitting here well jealous because it's all about tribes and where you're from, and all that culture and that. But I love it because it's multiculturalism, isn't it? And this is what this country's built on. I feel like me coming from I feel a real connection with Ireland, because I have Irish heritage, and when I go there, it feels like home purely because of the Guinness, maybe, and all that stuff. But I love it, and the people that the friendly nature of everything, and you feel like, this feels like a home, So I get it from that aspect. Can we go back to Big Brother because I'm really fascinated by this stuff. So, you're being watched. Under the eye, constantly. I mean, even a moment of just, what we all do, we put our hands down our trousers as blokes and things like that, and you take your top, you have a shower, are you just thinking, I can't move here? What was the worst part of being watched under the eye?
Okay, honestly speaking, the hardest part of the Big Brother experience for me was not the television, not being on the cameras in the start. It was before you go into these reality shows, there's a vetting. So there was it was a lockdown period before we went into the house. So now that was the roughest part because you're I don't know if I'm even allowed to say or too much, but it's basically you're they want to see if you're in a confined space, in a hotel room, whatever, and you just basically, I think they do it with Love Island too. They give you a chaperone, and you're just basically there on your ones. It's just you're a prisoner, but you get your food sent to your directly to your room. So that part was no phone, no interaction, because you about to go on a reality show. You're not gonna have no phone, no outside distraction. So it was that was meant to break you. Some people were crying or hear the So when we came out, obviously it's a social experiment. So once you come out, you long for relationships. You want to commute, you want to converse, you want to chat. I think I lost my voice the first 2 days. I just was saying everything. You know what I mean? It's so emotional. But after that first initiation of being on the stage, being introduced, and then going in, and it was then it was kind of everything, the temperament just was slowly phasing out. And then before you know it became, all right, you don't want to leave after a certain point because it's now it's leaving is not good. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's reverse psychology. Oh, it's crazy, man.
Wow.
The show was intense.
So do you need I don't know if this is true, but counselling after you leave a place like that?
They do a little version of it, you meet with, but again, it breaks you down and you got to build yourself back up again. And unfortunately, I had support during that build up, and then we had the pandemic and lockdown. So it was I came out on the good side without losing who I was completely. There was times when I first came out, it was my profile rose so quickly. So sometimes I just wanted a moment to myself. Sometimes I'll be hungry and I'll avoid going into a restaurant because I just it's not like I'm not a friendly person or a people's person. Just sometimes I'm just hungry, and when I'm hungry, I'm not really a social person. So I just was I don't want to go in there and then have to take pictures and talk and I just felt like it was a bit too much. But that's what we signed up for. Yeah. And there was some times where it was my own celebrity was stopping me or holding me back from doing this because I'm a regular guy. You saw me when I like to go on bike rides, go to this grocery store myself. I don't really do all this get something to do. I'm very much the ordinary guy. Yeah. So when that was taken away from me, I was like, whoa, what is this? You know what I mean? I just want to go on a run. I just want to walk. Wow. You know, and some people are like, oh, wow, man, you're a really cool guy. You're walking the street. I'm like, yeah, you know what I mean? So, I remember those initial moments, and I'm glad. Obviously, I got my life back again. Of like, well, where it's nice to be up there, but I think there was a rapper that once said, "Is I think Bugsy Malone. I think when you're up, so you got to prepare for the fall." You know what I mean? Or prepare for the landing, not the fall, but prepare for the landing. Not everyone prepares for the landing. Yeah. So you can go up quick, but prepare for the landing. Yeah. And I think that's it for me. I'm grounded. Got my son. Got my wife. Happy. Living my life.
Is that part of the reason why you live in the UK then? Like,
no. I mean, I feel like during the time and like where I was, making during the pandemic, we had a reality show with MTV, so we was getting some opportunities and whatnot. But the UK is, I never thought I was going to be here this long, but because I've always been traveled, I've always moved. You know what I mean? I've not been one place for that many years until these years in my life, raising my son, obviously, getting married. But I'm not one to limit myself to my location. I've lived in Nigeria for a year or two. I've come back, and it's just for whatever it is, it just seemed to work out as we are right now. But how things are changing in life, who knows where my postcode will be in the next months or years? I don't know.
Well, hopefully around here, because you're a cool geezer. I think you should stay, mate.
Bless you, mate.
I think I couldn't imagine. Even though it's weird, I get what you're saying, because as a singer, you strive for everyone to hear your music, and I often think, how would I? There was a little bit of it, like people would recognise me at certain points.
Yeah.
But it was never on a scale of what you've been through. And I often go like, oh, how would I have dealt with that? And sometimes I see it as a real blessing, because I'm the sort of person that self-sabotages. And I really am. And I think you're just going to burn the podcast in a second. But no, but it's like, that must be, under the watchful eye, so to speak, of everyone. Everyone wants to know what you're eating. Everybody wants to know what you're doing that day. And it's like, blimey, sometimes if, when I'm at work and someone's just asking me to do something, I take offence to it. Leave me alone, give me my space. I can't imagine that. But it seems like you've dealt with it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone's, you can't please everybody. No. You know what I mean? So just like, I may feel like, so it was probably someone that's like, he's a you know what I mean? Because I didn't take a picture with him or whatever. That's just kind of reality of like, I can't live for everyone's applause. You know what I mean? So that's something that I don't really think about too much. Like I said, I'm very much an optimist. You know what I mean? So I'm just looking at on the best side. But most people have good experiences when they meet me there, from what I've heard, and I'm proud of that, because I genuinely I enjoy conversations. I enjoy one-to-ones. I feel like I have an extrovert profile, but I'm pretty much probably an introvert at heart. As long as I get to know someone, I can spend time, I can just chill, keep it casual, keep it cool, and then I mean that'll do me a bag of chips. You know what I mean? I'm cool, but. Yeah, it's just kind of, again, it's one of those things, you know what I mean? Like, again, that's why I never thought I would have ever been like a reality TV person. I think the first reality TV show I watched, like from start to finish, was Love Island. And I remember at the time there was a guy that was an athlete, Theo. He was on there, and I was like, oh, this is so cool, like one of us. You know what I mean? He's on it, and he did well, and I was like, oh wow, he is like a cool guy, but that's like how we are, And I feel like, especially a lot of track athletes, they don't really have huge personalities online on socials, but if you know them, man, these guys are funny. They got big personalities. Like, go to their track, go to everything, see how there's so much banter in that place, man. It's just like, but they don't show that because it's their brand, their professional persona. But a lot of them, like a lot of these track guys, I know they just had a Netflix series out that just came out, but with a few of those top sprinters, but besides just that, the throwers, the jumpers, there's so many personalities that the world doesn't get to see because they're on a strict regime, or they don't want to show too much because that's not probably what they associated and lined up with, because everyone sees these Olympians as these professional geeks. Look, I've been in there. I've seen how they go, but, this is such as life. They got to protect their brand and protect their bag. And that's kind of like what it is. I just was never like protected like that when I was in that sport. I didn't have sports endorsements. I was the Rolling Stone. I was promoting cigars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Drinking whiskey. You know what I mean? That was my brand. You know?
Do you want one?
So that literally how I separated myself. I was never just the athlete guy. I was always doing something else. So I think I allowed to open myself up to these opportunities because people saw me as a guy, you know what? And that's really who I was. And I was able to monetize off of that.
That's my sort of athlete. That's cigars and whiskey, mate. That's quality.
That's it, man.
Yeah. So you see, when you was in the house, you was known as the calm one.
Yeah.
Very just like chilled, laid back.
Yeah.
Was there anyone that played up to the cameras in your eyes, in your opinion?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But one thing one of the housemates told me, and this is like towards like when we were getting to the finals, he was like, "How you are, people are gonna feel it, not just in here but out there. Don't change." And I was like, "That's cool," because I was thinking I need to do more too, but they're like, "Nah, man, how you are," because like a lot of times I would do things. And what I would say the community, the people watching, they loved my effort.
Okay.
They loved my tenacity to try, and even if it was like failing miserably, it was just the effort. And I think that's what most people could connect with. It was my willingness to want to be immersed and want to be in the moments. And I feel like that's where, especially in a nation where it's so suppressed, it was like seeing someone that looked like them and talked like them and like wanting that acceptance. I feel like that gave them a sense of like you know what I mean? And I feel like coming out, seeing it, I realized. But in the moment, you could hear from my story, I was fighting for it because I was like, I wanted it. I wanted that acceptance. I wanted that connection because it was like, it was my shot. You know what I mean? It was like, I said, finding myself, through others. You know what I mean? It was like, I always looked at it as like a big family reunion, but people kept having to remind me, yo, this is a game show. We're trying to win. Like, snap out of it. You know what I mean? These guys ain't your friend. They're probably voting for you to go home. You know what I mean? So it was like a lot of moments like that. And I was like, man, but it ended up turning out to be favorable, like now in hindsight, because at the time everyone was like, yeah, probably that was the reality. It's going to be a cat and mouse. But later on down the road, I've been invited to weddings. I've been groomsmen, part of my housemates that was in the show, and it was just like, I've been around their kids that they've had, so it still is that kind of feel like. It will be a moment of my life that I will never forget, and it will forever be with me. It's almost like my name will forever be associated as Mike, the Big Brother Nigeria guy. You know what I mean? And that's part of what I signed up for. But along the way, I'm still going to brand, I'm still going to market and push my own identity because, you know what I mean? We are the authors. We are the final say. So I'm still rewriting. I'm still writing new chapters to my book, man. I'm 34. I'm still going,
It's a long way to go.
Yeah, man.
So was it like the Big Brother in the UK where you have tasks and stuff like that as well? So what was the hardest task for you to do that you remember?
Well, it probably wasn't the hardest task, but one of my most viral moments was trying to learn the lyrics to a Nigerian song verbatim for a Pepsi challenge.
Okay.
So that was one of the most darling moments in the nation for where people were like, oh, this guy is hilarious, because I was trying so hard to memorize it because I didn't want to mess up. Yeah. That was the athlete in me. And then when the lights came on and I had to do it, it was miserable. But so they loved me for that. That was a highlight. I think I trended over Twitter when that came out. So
amazing.
Pretty big.
Well, let's try and get you trending on a little game that we've got.
Let's go.
We've got the game. It's called Shotstopper. I don't know if you're a drinker. Are you a drinker?
Whiskey.
Not anymore. Listen.
Yeah.
So we got a little game. called Shotstopper. And obviously talking about athletes and, you know, people of a level like we was talking about before. Your subtitle for Shotstopper is the athletes of our time. Okay?
Yeah.
So Shotstopper is a game where we involve alcohol.
Yeah.
You don't drink, I will take your shot for you. I'm like designated shot taker. So I'll put 2 names up.
Okay.
So let's just say behind me, we were going to do boxing ones, right? We were going to do Robert Duran versus Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yes.
You pick. So if you say Robert Duran, great. If you can't pick, it's a shot.
Okay.
All right?
Let's go.
So be kind. You. Because it's a Thursday night, Friday, I wouldn't have minded. But
Let's go.
So here we go. So this is Shotstopper.
All right.
Athletes of our time. All right. This is for Mike Edwards. Here we go. So Michael Jordan or Serena Williams?
MJ.
Why MJ?
He's just revolutionized the whole aspect of sports, from on the court and off the court.
Okay. Do you know what? We've put my MJ so early that it's just going to be like MJ, and you're a basketball man, aren't you?
Come on now.
Okay. Here we go.
MJ or Usain Bolt?
Michael Jordan. And the reason why I would say Michael Jordan, because he outlasted his sports career. I don't think we talk about Bolt as much as when he was after his retirement. And I feel like that goes to show, you know, in terms of like being more than an athlete. I'm sure he's wrecking it up in deals, but I feel like transcending the sport outside is Michael Jordan has just been by far the greatest example.
God, yeah. When you think of Space Jam, just alone and
everything, man.
Mate, well, even The Last Stand,
pop culture, everything.
Well, my missus is not into sport at all, but watching the documentary on Netflix about him, she was hooked. She was like, "Wow,
he gets his mentality, everything."
Yeah,
it's just a gift. He's just a gift.
Before we carry on, is Michael Jordan going to beat everyone on this list? If he is, I might chuck him out.
You're gonna have to.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we did the mistake with my dad. We went Muhammad Ali. Oh, he's like Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali. Okay, so we'll put him out.
Let's start again. But we'll start with.
We'll start. Okay, Serena Williams or Usain Bolt.
Serena Williams.
Okay, why?
I'm a fan of her work ethic. I feel like. We're not throwing any shade at Bolt. I just feel like he was one of those that was God. His talent was God given, and he's blessed beyond this world. But I don't know if he enjoyed the work as much as he enjoyed the life.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would say Serena, because she just like dedicated her whole life to it.
Okay.
Serena or Tom Brady?
Ooh, I'm gonna go with that one's a tie. Reason why I would say that's a tie.
That's a shot.
Oh, that's a shot.
Yeah.
That's a shot. Oh, okay.
Thanks, mate.
That's a shot. That's how it goes.
Reason why?
Okay, the reason why I would say that was a tie is because Tom Brady came into the NFL with one of not the highest draft pick, not the fastest, not the strongest, not the quickest, but he ended up becoming a 7-time world champion. How do you do that? And I feel like he is probably one of the greatest athletes of our generation with not as much talent as like base talent, so to say, not talent, base talent as others. Like he's probably one of the slowest at the time in the combine when he was doing NFL combine. But I feel like it goes to show you it's what you do with your tools. And I feel like he was able to utilize his strengths to the 10th power. And now Serena also, was one of those, came from the inner city of LA, didn't have all the resources, came, showed up every day, worked relentlessly, had a family supporting, and her sister, and became one of the greatest, if not the greatest athlete of all time. So like they're both GOATs, you know what I mean? Yeah. So they gotta be ties, but I go to the shot.
Well, here's the shot to Serena Williams and Tom Brady.
I gotta give them respect, man. I can't divide them.
Okay.
So we start fresh now.
Okay.
Simone Biles or Lionel Messi? I'm going to do so many shots. I can feel it.
Simone Biles. I'm not a football guy. I know he's the greatest football player, but I'm going to say Simone Biles. Just for me, I feel like her story, and for her to have her own move in the Olympics and to be recreating the Olympics is just like, out of this world. She has the world like on her fingers, and I know Messi as well. He was able to capture the World Cup, this past World Cup, and I know he's just a phenomenal football player. But for me personally, not being a huge football fan, I would feel like Simone has been a bit more of a I don't know. People are probably going to just all in the comments at this, but I just don't feel I don't have that football passion enough to be able to divide them. So I would say Simone, just because of what I've seen her do and create her own stunts in one of the oldest sports.
Mm.
Okay.
Simone Biles or Kobe Bryant?
I would say I'm going to say Simone Biles.
Wow.
I'm going to say Simone Biles. And I'm going to leave it as that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it as that.
Right. Simone Biles or Pele?
Pele.
Why?
I'm going to say Pele because the generation is so much harder for someone from his background to be able to come into the league and dominate so gracefully. I feel like Pele is an example of humility, skill, talent, and whole lot of relentless. And I feel like his talent has survived the time. And I feel like, you still have to put him in the conversation when you talk about the greats of all time. And he was doing this with the conditions he was in, the hardship he had to face to, being a black man and to be, as great as he was, and, probably had to go through a lot of things that weren't publicized, but, to do that with grace and to be still up there in this conversations with these Messis, and it's just, to me, it says enough.
Okay.
Wait, me?
Yep.
Oh, Pele or Roger Federer?
Pele. Still Pele.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pele or Michael Phelps?
I would say Michael Phelps.
Right.
I would say Michael Phelps.
Why?
He's the greatest. He's the greatest Olympian, sports. Swim. I feel like Michael Phelps has broken and changed the mold of his discipline, and I feel like he's done it in a style of which I don't think it could be ever repeated. There's no similarity. There's no one else on a similar The stratosphere, like with Pele, you know, we people still butt names or associate. You can't put another name with Michael Phelps. He just stands alone.
The Felpedo.
Yeah, so I think because of that, he's just like, class of his own, league of his own.
Okay. Michael Phelps or Carl Lewis?
Michael Phelps still.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Michael Phelps. I like Carl Lewis. But yeah, I feel like you saying even still, I think Carl Lewis has more world championships than Usain Bolt.
I think so as well.
Well, yeah.
Okay, right. So Michael Phelps or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
The reason why, because I like how he's able to. He's bigger off the pitch.
Right.
I like athletes that are able to dominate both sides. I feel like Michael Phelps is a lad. He's just
Yeah.
We don't, you know what I mean? That's how I see him. I just feel like he's done it, been there, done it. He just wants to enjoy and just kick back. And I feel like, you know, not everyone has that. That's why you got to put Michael Jordan up there, because he still wants to win. Mm-hmm. Not everyone always, because winning is hard and it's temporary. You don't own winning.
No.
Winning is something that you have to pay your dues for every day. And some people I'm tired of winning now, man. I just want to, you know what I mean? But Michael Jordan, he will now go into NASCAR. He will now go and do this. Be on the foot, you know what I mean? He's now in the football. He's just a winner.
Yeah.
Through and through, man. And I think that's kind of like, you got to respect that, man.
So Michael Jordan still wipes these lot.
Come on. He's just a winner. You can never put Michael Jordan and expect me to take him off the list. No way.
All right. Ronaldo or LeBron James?
LeBron.
Yeah. We're talking to a basketball man here, aren't we?
Yeah, and I feel like he's got. They're both doing their thing, but again, I'm always got a soft spot for those that, you know, who came from single parent homes, from like, you know, subsidized housing, and, you know, being at the top, being scrutinized, being in the limelight since he was 16 years old till 40 is not an easy job. 16 to 40.
Yeah.
Name another person that's done that, except for Michael Jackson.
Yeah. That's
You
crazy
get what I
when you
mean?
think about that.
So yeah, it's LeBron.
I enjoyed Space Jam 2 as well. I quite liked it.
That's
thought it was good.
It's LeBron.
LeBron, yeah. LeBron's basically like the man, isn't he? Okay, so LeBron James or Tiger Woods?
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, LeBron. The reason being is, it's unfortunate because I'm a big fan of Tiger Woods. But, you know, if we're looking at body of work, and obviously that also includes on and off the pitch. It's just, you know what I mean, like, you know, like, he's human. I get that, and don't get me wrong, I love that. Like, he's unapologetic and he's just raw. He's like, you know what I mean, he will be in the media and he will still show up and do the work. You know what I mean? I love that about Tiger Woods, and he's got a dark side and he'll do what he's got to do. But, you know, I feel like LeBron is surely just as much as been, you know, enticed or whatever. I just feel like he's just an epitome of like world-class athlete, world-class family man.
Yeah. Period.
World-class, you know, just world-class. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I feel like he exemplifies all of that. And I feel like Tiger still is a class act, you know, he just Tiger, you know?
Yeah.
He's just Tiger. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm excited for what they're doing right now, him and his son. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is like, that has never been done like that before. I think it's about the father and son generation now. It's LeBron and his son, but this Tiger and his...
Take notes, innit?
This is wild.
Right. Crazy.
This is wild what we're watching. And it's exciting for sports.
Yeah, definitely.
So we got LeBron James or Maradona?
I know he's Argentina lad, isn't it?
Okay.
He won that. How many World Cups did he win?
Oh, mate, he won World Cups on his own. He was crazy.
Yeah, I know he's huge because I know he's like Messi and Maradona. I know, but I didn't grow up watching enough. But I do know who he is. I do know what he stands for. So I would say, from what I know, LeBron.
Yeah.
I just go with LeBron. Yeah.
So LeBron James or Javier Sotomayor?
Wow. Oh, you said it good, too.
We've been practicing all day.
Oh,
Espanol.
Well, look, man. He's the world's best. He's held the world record for probably the longest standing world record in track and field history. He did it from Cuba with hardly any resources and finances. He's probably not a wealthy guy. And I got to give it to him. He's like, again, I know I stress about you got to be big outside of sport and everything like that, but this is a man that I watched religiously growing up and seeing how, his statue he stood for, whatnot. I just feel like it's inspiring. It's changed my life. So I would say Sotomayor, due to the respect and the homage I have for him.
Yeah, I said that. You would have watched him a million times.
Yeah.
I said that. Sotomayor, man.
Wow, all right. This one's mental.
Sotomayor or Muhammad Ali?
Oh, wow. Muhammad Ali, man.
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali. I would feel like Javier would even tell you Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And that's with obvious reasons, man. What Muhammad Ali did, and it was just bravery. You know what I mean? He stood for more than all the models that we see now is based off Muhammad Ali. You know what I mean? He was a poet. He was a fighter. He was an activist. He was a family man. He was
the greatest.
He was the greatest of all time, and I feel like, he will be spoken about for the rest of humankind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's
godlike.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of like and the thing is, he doesn't have the perfect record. He didn't win all his fights, but he still is the greatest, and no one can argue that.
No.
That's what I love about, you know what I mean? That's the respect. He's just I'm fortunate that I was able to just be in the same vicinity as one of his children. I went to University of Louisville in college, and I know his one of his sons played baseball at the university there, and obviously being in Louisville, he's just kind of like Louisville lip. It was still, you know what I mean, like, he still had his imprint around the city, and it was just cool to know, like, like growing up, my mom, everyone in my family, we just was always big, huge Muhammad Ali fans, and I'm just proud that, like in this lifetime, I just was able to just kind of draw inspiration from him and then still utilize it in today's form in boxing some way. I still watch his stuff, and now I'm watching it differently. So it's cool, you know what I mean? You see, you know what I mean, like, like the repetitions and, like, like this, the flow and the footwork. You can watch millions and millions of hours of film on Muhammad Ali, still won't be able to rehearse, do anything what he does. And I think that's what, like, I've been able to mimic many other athletes in my life, but that's the person that don't matter how much film study you do, you will never be able to move like Ali. And I think that's just the coolest thing.
Well, look, I'm gonna give it to you now, because Michael Jordan basically won, but Muhammad Ali was the end winner of your Shotstopper. So Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad Ali.
Really? Wow.
No
okay, so there was one that got rid of him.
Yeah, there's no athlete that I feel outside of Muhammad Ali that you can compare to. You know, Michael Jordan was not a he was not an activist. He didn't want to get into social issues. He didn't want to speak out on behalf of like the community. He was a baller and he was a billionaire. That's why MJ is still the great, and he likes to win. He loves to win. But Muhammad Ali was willing to lose everything. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To you know what I mean? That's to me is like, again, what makes him so profound. He was willing to go everything to not prove a point, but to fight for what he believed in. And I feel like that's bravery. That's true strength. And again, we talked about the warrior in the beginning, and I feel like you know what I mean, that delusion of knowing, like, you know what, this is what I believe is right. You can take everything away from me. And it's almost like that Bob Marley effect as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, well, you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you feel like, you know, I think he said in the interview, it was like, the guy said, are you a rich man? He said, what do you mean rich? When you say rich, what do you mean rich? Is rich possessions? Is that what you consider to be rich, a rich man? And he said, well, yeah. And he said, well, no, I wouldn't consider that to be rich, but I'm aware. And he when he said it, he made me think, and I was like, you know what? He's figured it out. The true essence of freedom and living, and, you know, understanding, you know what I mean, like your purpose and like you know what like this like ride of life we're in. And there's an essence in Bob Marley and Muhammad Ali and all these greats that, you know what I mean, they never had the number billion next to them, or billionaire, but they were just full of, you know what I mean, like
rich
wealth.
In life.
Yeah, and
rich
I feel
in
like
life.
that's it, you know.
Well, look, we're talking about Muhammad Ali. Let's touch on your boxing career.
Go ahead.
All right, let's go for it. So,
my short tenure.
So
undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated, man. Mate, not many people can say it. But yeah, Misfits boxing. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Oh, mate, Misfits. It really. Speaking of Muhammad Ali again, it found me because I was actually auditioning for a boxing role. I was looking for a pivot from track and field. And after the Commonwealth Games, I went on this hunt. I signed up to like this acting agency, and one of the roles that came in was the Rumble in the Jungle. Wow. And at this time, I was still weighing about 86 kg, still the same height, you know what I mean? I was even bald. I'm bald. And so, like, you know what I mean? It wasn't much of like, had the fro or anything, but I just, I'm trying my luck, you know what I mean? So I went for the auditions. I went for the George Foreman role because it was kind of like late when I auditioned as well. So they were like, oh, can you do an Ali accent? And I was like, yeah, I could do it. And so I started doing the Ali impersonation. They were like, oh, we'll give you, do you think you can put on about 15 to 10 kg or whatever? I was like, yeah. That was like an opportunity to bulk up, you know what I mean? Like, no more high jump, let's do it. And I went through like maybe like 3 rounds, and then I got to the final one, but I didn't get the nod. A bit disheartened, but I was like, you know, it was a good shot, and I was in great shape. I was like, I wasn't fit, but I was like bulked up, you know what I mean? I wasn't like in running shape, but I was just like looking good. So I was like, oh, man, influencer boxing, let's see what's up. So I sent out a few DMs and didn't really get any bites initially, but then that following winter, I reached out to one of my good friends now, KSI's trainer, Leon, and he was like, yeah, come down. I'll put your name forward to because he was on the council member. I didn't even know he was on the committee. And then long story short, I just started preparing myself. Again, I didn't know I was in, but I just shoot. I ain't gonna get caught slipping. You know what I mean? This is the fight game, you know? So I just put myself in, like immersed myself in as a fighter. You know, I started going found me a trainer, started shadow boxing, like now I've got converted the garden to a boxing gym.
Right.
Like, yeah, I just started to do what I know what to do. It's like, you need to find a team, build your team. I called my PT. I was like, look, I'm gonna go into boxing. Can we start? Can you train me? Because I trusted in my PT and he gets me fit. You know what I mean? He's seen my worst days in terms of like fitness. And again, that level where I'm used to like tethering at, he knows how to get me to the other side where I'm like, come on, I just, so like that's the level. And I knew I didn't want to do it, but I knew that was what it's going to require. So I put myself in positions where, you know what I mean, like I wouldn't allow myself to go to my comfort zone because I knew I had to get out of it. So yeah, like I said, that from whenever that was, like probably like January, February till my debut was in August, I ain't stopped. You know what I mean? I stopped drinking, stopped doing anything. I just went straight into it. You know what I mean? Because I just find that, you know what I mean, it's the most probably honest sport in the world. You know what I mean? You get found out if you don't do the work. You get found out if you're not fit. You get found out. So I don't want to be the reason why. Like you said, I don't want to self-sabotage. Now, if not drinking is going to be the what keeps me winning, I'm not drinking. Do you know what I mean? It ain't that great. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of me. I'm very hardcore when I find something I want to do. I can really like lock in. I feel like I'm very good at hyper focusing. That's why I'm able to pick up on things a lot quicker than most people. I can hyper focus extremely well. I can block out everything to go to that goal of mine, and I think that's kind of a gift and a curse to my wife. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So who's the one fighter or celebrity that you would love to just knock out?
I'm not really one of those guys that has a list. I don't have a hit list. Because I realize, the boxing world is just very much, you know what I mean, you just got to stay ready. You never know who the opponent you faced with in the future. So I don't want to limit myself by thinking of some name and then I get an opponent that I never even saw coming and it's just even better. So, but I would say, being a Manchester lad, knowing the likes of like the Bugsy Malone, that's my favorite UK rapper.
Yeah.
If there was if he was in any opportunity where he was like, doing Misfits, I would fancy my shot.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because he's a boxer. He's comes from a
boxing
boxing background.
Call him out.
I mean, I'm in a tournament structure right now, but if it doesn't continue and they say, hey, we got another opponent, I would love to fight him.
It's good, like, to fight someone you respect, I find.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, it all gets caught up in the world of, like, your mum, whatever. Like, you go after each other, and it's all a charade. They all cuddle and kiss at the end.
Yeah.
Johnny Fisher recently fought, didn't he? And they were friends, the two of them. And it was like, we're not going to put on this thing.
Yeah.
We're mates here.
There you go.
Like, we respect each other.
Yeah.
Let's fight.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool in that respect because I get enough of the theatrics because in the end it just becomes like WrestleMania to me.
Yeah.
But
put
Bugsy Malone, man. Like, come on.
man, Bugsy, bro. Like 016 one. But yeah, we just want to, I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Definitely.
Money on the map.
Why not? And do it in Manchester as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen.
Get Liam Gallagher walking you all out.
There you go.
Oasis on the old record. What do you say to people that say, like, Misfits isn't boxing?
So, man, you can't play boxing. That's at the end of the day, like, I tell you, like, when you put on those gloves and you step in that ring and you put on those, it's not influencing. Do you know what I mean? I feel like at the level that they're growing to at this stage, it's like you got to respect it. And I've been fortunate to play multiple different sports. I think the hardest part is the training.
Yeah.
So regardless of who you got in front of you, you still got to put the work in. Those are the things that no one sees, and I think that's the kind of like where like I feel I consider myself a serious professional athlete because like I've done sports that, you know, they're recognized all over the world, you know, in terms of like, if I do this jump here in the UK, some kid in India could do the same jump and we can measure the difference. It's like, I scored this and you scored that. It's like, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you know what I mean? It's still whoever puts that bar up and goes over the bar. It's like those honest sports, you know, Olympic sports and honest sports and boxing is honest sport, and the individual. So yeah, I feel like the fighting is a different, taps into a different type of mental preparing. And I feel like those, like some people are just born with it. Like they're just dogs. They just want to fight. They just want to do, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't think, you know, the fittest and the strongest fighter always wins. I think it's the smartest fighter.
Box clever.
Box clever, smart boxing. You know, you gotta have a dog in you, but I still feel like, you know what I mean, you know, those ones that are just the boxing IQ ain't there, you can't beat me. That's how I see it. Because it's like, I'm studying this craft.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So that's kind of like how I look at it. It's like, yeah, you know, it's the smartest boxer, you know what I mean, that gets the bone.
Yeah. So are you in contact with people like KSI and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, we follow each other now because I respect it. It's his platform, mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's my boss. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like I said, I know where this is, but at the same time, you know, again, you can't. I don't think you can hold back if you're in there with another man who's got intentions to beat you. Naturally, you're going to react, and that's kind of where I feel like you can't dress this up. You know what I mean? Like, I think boxing is so unpredictable. You don't know who's going to win. You just can prepare yourself. Yeah. That's it. And everything else is out of your hand. You got to have that faith above, and you got to have that, you know, that fire within, and you got to have skills. You know what I mean? That's like, I feel like that's it. Everything else is just, you know what I mean, like, it's secondary. You know what I mean? Your gloves, your shorts, your shoes. But if you don't have this, and this, you know what I mean?
You can tell your energy's changing as you're talking about fighting.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, because it's real, man.
Yeah,
it's real. Even just like it's real. And I know my next fight with my opponent is a dangerous one because, you know, we're both athletes.
Right.
So he played in the NFL. Obviously, I do track and field. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna be it's Misfits. So, you know, people are going to be like, oh, you know, it's going to be theatrical or whatever the case may be. But I know at the end of the day, he's got transferable skills. I got transferable skills. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, let's go. Let's you know, no offense to any other the guys in the lineup, but I know in my mind, it's just like, you know, we have a lot more similarities, so I know that's more of a danger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I go into these things. Like, yeah, I'm in camp right now. It's gotta make these days count, not count the days. You know, Muhammad Ali said it best. So
we had Kevin Mitchell sitting where you're sitting, and we asked him about YouTube boxers and things like that, and what you think about it. And you know, Kevin Mitchell in his own right was a great lightweight, and he had world title fights and stuff like that, and amazing. And we asked him, and I wasn't expecting it, and he was like, "Good on him." You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot. Yeah. And this is a pro. You know, all of his life from a kid going all the way up to like his 30s and that. And he was like, "Good on him." You know? Yeah. They're fighting the fight. They're earning away in it and stuff like that. So, are we going to see a 2-0 in your next? Do you think you're going to win?
Yeah, I mean. I don't. I'm not one of those guys that do the talk and all that. Like, because I do still believe the true essence of the fighting is it's unpredictable. But I do fancy my chances, and I do. You know, we know what I'll bring to the table. I know I like to stay very much in my wait and see. Because, like I said, that's just kind of like my mentality. But I would say it's going to be probably a big improvement from my last one. Big improvement from my last one.
Well, let us know. We'll be there. We'll be there. We'll be there.
Big improvement from my last one.
Listen,
do you know where it's going to be?
No.
Okay.
There've been some there've been some changes. Initially, we were supposed to have all this done before the end of the year, but it was pushed and pushed. But when they do, hopefully, in the next month or so, we get an announcement. I'll be promoting it all over social, so you guys will see it, and I'll be like, you guys, if it's local, come down, man. I want to have as many years in the arena as possible, because
definitely,
I'm really amped about this next one, because you know what I mean. Like, it's that I know how much I improved. And I think that's the best way about it. You know what I mean? You could just see the changes. You know what I mean? Your shape, you know how it goes, the shape, how you stand, your positioning, how you moving. And then the work shows. You can't hide that.
Do you know what? You want to meet my dad, because my dad would give you some words of wisdom.
I would love to meet him.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't just say it, you know, because he doesn't. He's not a man. His face looks like he's a boxer, but his body is not of that as a boxer anymore, and he's 66. But you watch him on a bag, you just think it never left. You know, like it's amazing. And for someone, you know, barking boy in the area to sort of fight and things like that, I'd love you to meet him. Look, it's we could talk all night, Mike.
I love that.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming in. An amazing story, and
pleasure.
From the both of us, wish you all the best in the ring.
Appreciate that, guys.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me. This is a dope podcast, man.
Mate, when you get back on the sauce again, you can come round and have a beer.
There you go, man.
Celebrational drinks.
Yes, celebrational drinks. You know, bring that title along. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, everybody, that was Mike Edwards, and that is The Bar Shut. Thanks very much for listening. That is the Champ and Contender Podcast. Over and out. Thank you.
Thank you, man. This is gonna do well, man.